a couple other friends that like all be around each other, but they feel like they need you to be the you like spark the life of the party, or when they're around you, they feel a certain warmth, or when they're around you, they attract a lot of other people or something like that. Then you're the center stage of that group. So that's what I mean by center stage. We don't necessarily mean being center stage like you're going to be popular as a entertainer or something like that. Which that energy can trickle down and manifest into that. But just the natural nature archetype of Leo is being, what do Leos do in the jungle? They sit in their position and they like a star. They can sit there and they're like the kings of the jungle. They go out and eat all the motherfucking animals. So, you know what I'm saying? They center stage of the jungle. Lions is center stage of the jungle. So, you know, it holds prestige. When a lion come around, what do baboons and hyenas and shit do? They look like, oh shit, they're a lion. And then they either run or gain up on that one person. Now, apply that with energy. When a Leo walks into a room, everyone, if for some reason, it's like the sun itself. Everyone looks at the Leo, like, oh, look at the Leo, whatever like that. So it's either everyone apply themselves and succumb themselves in your warmth, or everybody gain up on you and you end up having hundreds of secret haters. That's how it works. You know what I'm saying? So is Leo's about that arguing life? No, because they have a more subtle and better way to argue. Just like they got a more diplomatic way of arguing. Just like Libras. So we're gonna get into those. You know what I'm saying? So it is arguing just to you, not to them. Now, they always right. Now, let's get to Virgo. Now, Virgos. Is Virgos about that life, about that arguing life? Hell motherfucking yeah. And then the way they motherfucking argue, it isn't even necessarily arguing. It's like they're more worried about you than arguing with you. So you arguing with them, they gonna try to figure out why the fuck you so hype. And if you too hype, they smack your ass to calm your ass down. But they're gonna be like, why the fuck you so hype? Why the fuck you so energetic? Why the fuck you so argumentative? What I'm saying is the details of the situation. I'm analyzing the situation for what it is. This is a Virgo, of a Virgo talking, if a Virgo getting into an argument. So that outlook right there is looking at you like they have to argue with you the critical and the actuality of the situation. So that's the only time how they look at arguing. So yeah, they about that life. They argue with you, but the outlook of arguing is trying to show you that your way of arguing or your way of trying to understand and learn something is at fault. And they're trying to act. So if a Virgo arguing with you, they looking at it like they're trying to make you better. They're not arguing with you just for the sake of arguing, like maybe the Mercury Gemini. They're arguing with you for the sake of trying to help you. They like, man, this person is, what is wrong with this person? Let me break something down to this person real quick. And that's how they come at you. So yeah, they definitely about that argument line. You definitely get a Virgo in your life telling you about yourself. You come around stinking. You come around doing a bunch of shit that everybody don't like. A Virgo will tell you. They will tell you. You know what I'm saying? And they don't feel like they're doing anything wrong. They feel like they're helping you. They feel like they're serving you. You know what I'm saying? So when we say Virgos are here to serve and to help, we don't mean be followers. We don't mean, although, or copycatters, although it can trickle down and manifest into that, we talk about the actual energy itself though, the servant energy, the helping energy. You can have Virgos here that are absolute leaders because they feel the need in their heart to help others, to be here for others. So this is what makes them a leader. See, you get what I'm saying? So it's Virgos about that arguing life. I say hell yeah, but they argue out of criticizing and analyzing. So it's not an arguing with you just to argue with you and to oppose you. It's to argue with you to help you. You know what I'm saying? So that's the Virgo energy of arguing. Now let's go to Libra. Now is Libra about that life? Is Libra's about that life arguing? Yes. Now I'm gonna say yes. You know what I'm saying? Because a Leo argue with but they argue for fun. That's the difference between the two air signs and the opposite signs, which is Aries. Aries argue to oppose, but it has to have a purpose. Libra may argue to relate. They may be arguing with you to relate to you. So a lot of times it don't feel like an argument, just like the Leo. The Leo is arguing with you to come to a point that to make you feel like you're the only one arguing. They're telling you something. The Libra will argue with you just to see where you're coming from, just to relate to you. So if it's a high volatile type of argument, then it may have been a situation that the Libra feel like they have to gain control over intellectually. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a calm, peaceful, diplomatic, tactful arguing, that's what Libras like, and that's what they love. So anytime you can do a friendly debating, but we all know the outcome is friendly, or anything like podcast type shit, this, that, and the third, or relating to someone in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or related to someone about something else. This is the way Libras argue. So it comes across pleasant like Leos. It comes across like it's not necessarily arguing, but at the end of the day, it is, because it's two energies opposing each other till they come to one agreement, basically. So yeah, is Libras about that arguing life? Yeah, they just got diplomatic and tactful skills when it comes to that arguing. So a lot of times you could be getting cursed out, or you could be getting shot down intellectually by a Libra without even knowing it. Like you think the Libra with you, laughing with you, and they laughing at you, because they got the type of wordage and the sarcastic ways about themselves that kind of blend energies. See, for an example, Libras is ruled by Venus. So when they jump into a volatile energy like Mars or anything like that, the way they may show that expression may still come across pleasant. So you may be looking at this person like, is this person really angry at me? Why are they talking to me like that? You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, that you may be getting approached by a Libra. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, they may be upset and they're attacking you, but it's still hard for you to kind of fully understand that because of all that Venus there and that Venus quality there. So you know what I'm saying? It's Libras about that arguing life. Hell yeah, and they know how to do it very good. So arguing with a Libra, you hurting yourself, because you're not gonna make them upset. Because 9 times out of 10, it doesn't deal with emotions; it deals with the intellect. So you're not gonna get them upset. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna piss you off 10 times even more because of the way they worded something. And it ain't gonna be till you go home and really think about it. Like, hold on, that motherfucker disrespected me. Like, hold on. She lucky I ain't catch that in the middle, but now that I'm thinking about it now, that was being real disrespectful. Yeah, that was a motherfucking Libra chopping your ass up metaphysically with that motherfucking air. So yeah, let's get into motherfucking Scorpio. Now, and Scorpio's about that life, that arguing life. No, no. Now, if a Scorpio is arguing with you, it has to be for a purpose also, because this here with that Mars, but it's not so extroverted like Aries. It's introverted Mars. So what happens here is, if I see a Scorpio argue with you, it's because you opposing how you think they should be onto them, or you're doing something completely wrong and they feel the necessary need to help you. Like, not necessarily help, but the necessarily need to tell you what's right about whatever you're doing. Now, a Scorpio, they see your actions and see you stumbling and falling, and they'll try to help you out by leading by example without necessarily telling you. But if they see you the type of person who can't understand that or understand metaphors, then they're gonna have like this bent up aggression in them, because they're gonna feel like, man, I did all this type of shit leading by example. I mean, I know I should have just told him up front, but I'm leading by example and I wasted all this energy and this motherfucker still don't get it. So the Scorpio themselves, if they not enlightened the ego, then they may not know this is what's going on within them, but this is what's actually going on with them. That Mars is building aggression and is building willpower and is building intentions. So when you get attacked with that same energy from that person again, it comes across like you're tired of it. Well, really, that person, this the first time this person hearing or understanding that this is what's going on. But to you as a Scorpio, you've been doing this. Like, so now it's build up and now it's up to here. So now when you express it comes across volatile. So it comes across argumentative, or you're trying to control somebody, or you're trying to control the way what they do. Then it's like, damn motherfucker, why you always do that? You always do that. You're supposed to spend your money on this. Then when you do this, then you do that fucking way. Then this person like, damn, why this person exploding on me? Or whatever like that. this is my first time even knowing you felt this way about me. When in the Scorpio head, they been on this shit. Last week, they was trying to lead by example because they see you did something wrong, so they was trying to show you something, they see you didn't do it. They try to throw little hints out there, little slight sarcastic shit. They see you wasn't picking up on it. So when it comes to a point that they got a motherfucker, now they gotta tell you, and you push that intention on them and that willpower on them to the point now they gotta use aggression, they can't help but to use it that way. And they're not upset with you or mad at you. It's just that that's the way the energy gets expressed. Because of the Mars and the Pluto. So is Scorpios about that arguing life? No, they're gonna sit there and let you be until it start inflicting on letting them be. When your energy start inflicting on the Scorpio, making the Scorpio do different things now and dictate their own actions now, then that's when you're gonna see the lash out. Then that's when you're gonna get your ass stung. But for the most part, they're gonna let your ass fall off the cliff a few times. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're not gonna argue with you about it. You know what I'm saying? So, Scorpios about that, the arguing life? No, they only gonna argue with you if it sees a purpose. Sagittarius. Now, is Sagittarius about that arguing life? No, I'm gonna say Sagittarius no either, because Sagittarius don't even like to be in the energy of everyone arguing anyway. Now, if you're having a friendly debate or something like that, just like the sextile with Libra, that's what they have in common. Just like the sextile with Gemini and Aries, the air fire sign. When you got Aries loves to argue, but it has to be for a purpose, and Gemini loves to argue just for the sake of arguing. With this fire and air temperament, which I should apply Sag with Aquarius, because I applied Leo with Libra. So the difference between Sag and with the Aquarius, they both don't like to argue. We don't get there. You know what I'm saying? So when I get to Aquarius, that's when I'm going to set this side the difference. Same way how I did with Libra, Leo, and then I'm going to do that with the Earth too. But, you know, Sagittarius, they don't even like to be in that energy. They don't even like to be in that field of reality. They don't even like to be around that. So before you even can start an argument with a Sagittarius, they up out of there. They up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Now, they'll argue with you, but once the argument get to a point that everyone has to agree to disagree, that's when the Sagittarius may take a preacher role or take a higher role, because arguing may seem lower consciousness to a Sag. Arguing may seem petty. So if you are arguing with a Sag, or you a Sag and you arguing with someone, you're trying to get to a higher purpose of it. Now, if you see whoever you clashing with, if you see that it's going to come to a point where you just have to agree to disagree, or nothing is going to come out of it, then the Sag is going to jump into preacher or jump into teacher mode and jump out of the arguing vibration. And in their head, they look like they feel like they jumping in something higher now. So now they arguing from how they feel is a higher perspective. So now they looking at it like, well, we don't need to be arguing. Just look at what we talking about in the first place. Then they start analyzing the situation as a whole and broaden the horizon of the whole situation to the point that now the person that the Sag is arguing with don't even feel like the arguing is worth arguing anymore. Now they just feel like they being a goddamn student, or they sitting in a fucking church room or something like that, and this person is trying to praise their morals all down my fucking throat. And okay, I don't even want to argue no more. I don't even want to listen to you talk about what's right or wrong about this argument anymore. I'm freaking done. And that's what the person going to feel like up under the Sag. So it's probably in your best interest not even to argue with a Sagittarius, because they're not going to do nothing but take themselves out of that energy and try to put themselves in a higher energy. And then by them even having that outlook, they manifest situations where they have higher energy than others. But see, it's a bad and a good thing about that, because you can never even dialogue with someone or have someone want to dialogue with you, and then when you do get into conversation, sometimes you feel like it's a cage. So you feel like you don't even want to say any. Sometimes you got them quiet Sagittarius. They don't even want to say anything because they feel like they're going to be tied into that conversation now. And that's a form of being in a cage, a form of being in a box. And they don't want to do that. So, yeah, they get up out of there in a second. They get up out of there in a second. So, a Sagittarius about that life arguing? No. No. I'm going to say no. You know what I'm saying? Before they argue with you, they're going to try to teach you something. They're going to try to teach you that you arguing don't make sense. So, yeah. Now, Let's talk about Capricorns. Now, Capricorns. Is Capricorns about that arguing life? Yes, Capricorns is definitely about that arguing life. Because if you come kicking some bullshit that don't make sense, they're going to argue with you that it don't make sense. For an example, if me and you finna go into a business, right? And I'm a Capricorn, and you just another sign, right? Now, we finna go into business, right? Now, you telling me something like this. You like, all right, let's start a business. Let me get off this shit because this ain't doing nothing but distracting me. Sorry, y'all. But look. You're gonna look at it like, okay, let's start a business. I want to open up a convenience store. Now, the Capricorn is gonna be like, okay, boom, I'm with you. Let's do this. All right, let's get it done. Let's start doing shit. Now, the Capricorn is gonna start doing shit pertaining into actually getting and owning a store for these things can actually take off, so you can actually get food and actually have shit in the store for sale. Now, you may be the type of person like, all right, but your actions and your awareness of how to get it done may be slightly off. So, you come with your ideas, the Capricorn can come with their ideas. The Capricorn is going to criticize the fuck out of your ideas because it's not going to make sense to them. You might be coming like, all right, I know where to get 50 pieces of stacked corn from. And you may be looking at it like, the Capricorn going to look at it like, nigga, we don't even got a fucking store. Why would you go get some corn if we don't got a place to store it? And then you may be thinking you making sense because you're going to be like, well, I got this corn. We can put the corn anywhere. I can take the corn to my refrigerator. You take some of the corn to your refrigerator until we get the store. And this way, we working ahead of time. And the Capricorn going to be looking at it like, nigga, we don't even know if we going to get a loan to get the store. So look, so both situations may very well make sense. But at the end of the day, the Capricorn is always going to be looking at it like we need to be taking the right steps, the right procedures, and we need to organize it and have it organized in the right way in order for the procedures to be done right. Now, it doesn't matter what another person do. It might make sense or it might not. But in a Capricorn head, it's always not going to make sense to a Capricorn. Capricorns always feel like they have the right part 1, part 2, part 3 ways to go about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they got to understand. So they will argue with your ass, and you have to argue with a Capricorn in order to prove them wrong, because they're not going to see anything wrong. See, that's the difference with Taurus and Capricorn. The Taurus may be stubborn and stuck in their ways, so even if you prove them wrong, they're not going to care. Capricorns, if you prove them wrong, they're willing to argue with you to the death. And if you do prove them wrong, they're going to argue with you for proving them wrong. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to try to make themselves feel right in some aspect of the conversation. Even though if they fully lost the argument by 90%, they're going to find that 10% that they can at least be right on, so they can go home and at least feel like they accomplished something. Because that's Capricorn is the sign of status quo. Status quo is goals. When you reach goals, you feel like you accomplished something. So Capricorns love to accomplish things. You feel me? So it's Capricorns about that argue life. Hell motherfucking yeah. I'm getting to the last two signs. Aquarius. Is Aquarius about that arguing life? No, they're not about that life. And this is the sextile between the Sag and how they do it differently. Sag may escape the whole situation as a whole. Aquarius may get detached and just tell you what you want to hear in order for you to shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't necessarily. Now, Aquarius, if it comes to like ranking on people, roasting people, having friendly fights, they with that, if you want to call that arguing, they'll tell you about yourself in a second. They'll be like, look, you got a big ass hole in your motherfucking shacks, nigga. You got a big ass. Now, they'll do that all day. But when it comes to arguing about an actual situation, no, they're gonna get detached. They're gonna tell you how they feel and how they think. Then once you go on and on and on and on about how you feel and how you think, that's when they're going to get quiet and get detached. Or they may throw little smart, sarcastic remarks out there like the Libra, but it's not all in trying to relate to you. It's all in trying to belittle your ego. Because the sun is at work in Aquarius. And Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So Saturn doesn't reflect sunlight. So the sun itself is a form of ego. The sun has an ego. So the sun is not getting reflected from Saturn, or from Saturn signs, which is Capricorn and Aquarius, but more so Aquarius. So when a person who are trying to show and express themselves and give off their light to Aquarius, you're not going to get no feedback from Aquarius. Before an Aquarius give you a feedback, they're gonna give you something that kind of tame your ego a little bit. They're gonna say something that's smart to you to make you feel like you're not as good as you thought you was. You're not as high spirits as you thought you was. You're not as smart as you thought you was. And even if the Aquarius really feel like you are, they in their head they feel like they have to tell you this because they don't want you to get big-headed. This will actually help you out. This is just their basic nature. You know what I'm saying? They don't want people parading their ego around everywhere because Saturn doesn't reflect sunlight. So Aquarius is not gonna accommodate you for your ego. It's not gonna accommodate you for what you think you're creative at. They're gonna say what they have to say. Then once you go on and on trying to prove something, Aquarius feel like they have nothing to prove. They don't have ego the way you have ego. Because the sun is debilitated here. So the sun has to do shit it doesn't necessarily want to do. So when the sun wants to go out and act creative and act and show its spirit and high vitality to people, when the sun comes in Aquarius, it does that in a whole nother way. It's not bent on showing you or proving to you it's something. It's more about proving to itself and applying something that everyone else can understand first. You know what I'm saying? So before you want to come around to Aquarius and say me, expect the Aquarius to argue with you and be like, no. It's not even about me either. You know what I'm saying? They set it up like that. They'd be like, it ain't about you, motherfucker. It ain't about me either. And then they come up with a perception how it's about everybody. Because this is where the humanitarian traits might jump in. You know what I'm saying? So is Aquarius about that life? No. They ain't about to argue in life. And when you come trying to argue, they gonna shoot your shit down to the point that the Aquarius feel like they might be too smart to argue with you. You know what I'm saying? And you might make them feel dumb if they even gave you 10 words. Is Aquarius about that life? No. You know what I'm saying? They too smart for that. Now, last motherfucking sign, Pisces. Is Pisces about that arguing life? Here's another tricky one. Because they are. They are. But they do it for the sake of having the outcome be harmonious. They don't do it for the sake of having the outcome be detriment. For an example, like the opposite is Virgo. And when we was talking about Virgo, they about that arguing life, but they argue with you because they feel like they help you. Now, the polar opposite of that is Pisces. So Pisces a lot of times may feel like they can't help you. Like if you showing a Pisces all these actions or whatever like that, and you got the Pisces in your life trying to tell you what's right or wrong, and then they see you not listening, they see you keep doing the same thing. At that point, a Pisces will wash their hands. They feel like, okay, I can't help you. So at that point, they don't even want you around. So when you come trying to argue with